Hi, welcome to Empowered Survivors TV. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rebecca Sawers, your host for today. Joining me, we have Catherine Herrera Lopez, who is a counselor who specializes in trauma. Today, we're having a conversation about child sexual abuse. On Empowered Survivors TV, we share information in support of that is supportive for survivors of child sexual abuse in their healing journey. So thank you for joining us. So that's okay. Thank you, Kathy. So I've invited Kathy along. She is our counselor over at Meant to Rise, and I really value her work and her expertise, and I'm really grateful to have her here on the show today and to share some information on the topic around, I guess today was about self-reflection. So in our journey of healing, self-reflection is a big thing. You know, it's how do we see ourselves from the trauma? And because of everything that has happened to us in the past, we can carry that along with us throughout our life, whether it's as growing up and becoming a teenager to an adult, becoming a mother or a father. We can carry the beliefs, and it can come through, the trauma can come through in us and into our lives. So I guess with the self-reflection, we wanted to explore deeper into how we see ourselves. And the big question is, how often do you stop and look at yourself in the mirror? For most, the reality is that most don't want to look in the mirror. And there is that shame and that guilt and that low self-worth that stops us from looking. There's that anger, and there's that resentment and that feeling different and unworthy that makes us, when we do look in the mirror, there's a lot of self-criticism. Would you agree, Kathy?
Yeah, look, I would agree with that. I think there's also that feeling that when so many parts of you have been violated and you lose your sense of self, you become quite fractured. So then when you're looking in the mirror, you're not exactly sure who you're looking at, and that person can appear as a stranger. So it's that practice of looking at yourself, I think, comes over time, and it comes with the healing, that as all those parts of you that have been pulled apart and everything about you has been challenged, your beliefs, your thoughts, your values, is all, I guess, in trauma taken away from you. So you have to reestablish what those are.
Yeah.
So I think it's looking in that mirror and going, well, who are you? I'm looking at a stranger here, and and I think that's that reflection, that self-reflection, being able to maybe understand what that means, and how you move forward from that.
It's interesting you using the word stranger, because with stranger, there's that sense of not trusting. You know, it's unfamiliar. It says, who is this person and who is staring back at me? I don't know who you are. And that definitely comes from what child sexual abuse long-term impacts, is that we become detached with self from the moments that the abuse occurs. And we become detached in a way to protect ourselves. So we hide our little self, and we go through life journeying, not knowing who we are, but just journeying and trying to fight and flight, basically, and cope in life. So what would you say would be a simple practice. So I have a mirror here that was it says "Be Beautiful" from a beautiful friend of mine, Coralie. And what would you say is a good practice for someone who isn't used to looking at themselves in the mirror? How can they go ahead and start to become familiar with that stranger with loving eyes, I guess?
Look, I really think it's about perhaps finding maybe that one word that you can incorporate into "I am." Saying "I am," it could be "I am strong." And often when we start those affirmations, we don't believe them. You know, there is that sense of doesn't feel right. But the more we practice, so if we could look in that mirror and look and say "I am," find that one word, "I am strong," and then over time you can start to say and look at that reflection and say, "You are strong."
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really huge.
Yeah.
And because it's you know, it's a language that may not have been spoken for so long, but we become familiar with the way we sound, and that we can build that trust, and that we can believe the words that are coming from our own mouths, and make friends with ourselves, which ultimately becomes that beautiful space of self-love.
Yes.
So it is really that setting intention, that when you're looking in the mirror, there's that intention of building relationship and love and self-trust.
And learning to make eye contact with yourself.
Oh yes, and that's a big one, because most of us will try to, and especially when we're communicating with others, whether it's ourselves, we look away because of that fear of eye contact. Because, you know, when we were young, there's that "don't look at me," you know, or look away. Or if we look away, then we're protecting ourselves from what's to come, because we're afraid of what is going to come. But knowing that we can build confidence in self and trust self, that it's okay to look at somebody in the eye and hold that attention there and build that self-love. And I think that, yes, from my experience of healing from child sexual abuse, it's being able to trust and hold that eye contact, and learning how to be compassionate and caring and loving. Why not? We give it to others, so we've got to give it to ourselves.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. That was really interesting. So is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers before we head out?
Yeah, I would just like to say that any process of healing takes time. And be patient and be willing to give it all a go.
Yes, absolutely.
There is success out of anything that you do.
Yeah, and there's so many different things to explore, so many different modalities of healing practices, and it really is finding what is authentically you and what is aligned with your true self. And obviously during the self-reflection with the mirror, we'll start to bring that connection with self. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Empowered Survivors TV. It is time to heal. Thank you.